Hi there, greetings and salutations, and happy festival Thanksgiving week. My name is January. That is Derek Schultz, and in the earliest Christmas gift that is the Grinch delivering it, we are sitting here awaiting to do the show, and Derek has been singing Mariah Carey out loud, totally off-key to everybody, and it is the worst thing that you can possibly imagine. But other than that, hi, how are you?
Off-key's not right. Sweet, Sweet Fantasy Baby. Man, what a jam that was. Just such a jam. Like a timeless classic from Mariah. Everybody has that artist that
Guess
is
what? You're getting ready for 6 weeks of timeless Mariah classic coming up, right?
Everyone has this artist that if you're in your car alone, you're not shutting it off. You know, the Tommy Boy scene with David Spade and Chris Farley.
Okay.
Like, I'm cool with it if you are. Mariah is that for me, and I'm singing it at the top of my lungs. Don't care.
You do know my Mariah Carey story, right?
Does that have to do with your internship at MTV?
Yes.
She's very high maintenance, I know.
No, I don't know about
okay.
that. When I was interning at MTV, there was a security guard that worked inside one of the studios that claimed that he was very good friends with Mariah Carey.
I do know.
We're all like, there's no way you're friends with Mariah Carey. He's like, no, I am friends with Mariah Carey. My friend's dating Mariah Carey. And then the next day he came in with very risque photos, Polaroid photos of Mariah Carey. And I'm like, okay, you do know her.
Polaroids, because that was the era back then.
Correct.
You didn't have everything right here.
That is correct, yes. That is a fact, though. A lot to talk about, Derek, because we have several things. We have the Colts that might be sliding back a little bit.
Yeah.
We have the Pacers who are down there to welcome them. We have Indiana football that is at the front of the line, and Indiana fans are now convinced has become basically Oklahoma, Nebraska, USC, Penn State, Alabama, and Notre Dame tradition all wrapped into one, right? And we have the bucket game coming up. We have Purdue basketball is so undoubtedly the best team in the country. They absolutely eviscerated Texas Tech. There's a ton to talk about here, not to mention high school basketball getting underway, high school football state finals. It is a wonderful time of year despite the fact the weather sucks.
Would you say that it is a cornucopia of sports
I would
right
say
now?
that.
I think it's a
Potpourri.
cornucopia. Yeah, this honestly is probably my favorite week of the entire year. I understand that it's like 45 and raining right now.
Right.
Weather-wise, it's usually not great, but I just love to kind of sit back and eat and watch sports and football and basketball crossover season. You've got baseball signings starting to kind of trickle in as well. So all of my sports interests
I've got all the
are
Blue
hitting
Jays
at once
on
right
my
now.
phone.
You got alerts still?
Yeah, Blue
on the
Jays.
Blue Jays?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But
I'm
let's start.
all in on the Blue Jays.
Let's start Colts. An excruciating loss. It was one of those games where, you tell me if you agree with this, Jake. It's like watching the movie where you know what's going to happen and you're bracing yourself for it to happen, and then it happens and it still feels crappy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was that entire fourth quarter, I just knew that they were going to lose.
I'm going to push back a little bit. I'll let you continue, and then I'm going to push back.
They kept getting the ball back and kept doing nothing with it, and when you give Patrick Mahomes 38 bites at the apple, he's going to eat at some point, and of course he ended up doing it. I don't think the box score did the Colts justice. The Chiefs dominated the box score. Like, if you were to look at this on a sheet of paper and saw that the Colts were outgained 494 to 255, 33-10 in first downs, Chiefs dominated time of possession. They ran 91 plays. 91 plays. That's almost double the amount that the Colts ran. But the Colts really were in control of that game. They were in the catbird seat, as we say on this show, and they let it slip.
Derek, I'm gonna say what I said yesterday, okay? And I had to look this up, admittedly. Do you know the difference between bad and egregious?
Bad is just bad. Egregious is, oh, my God, right?
Egregious means it includes an overwhelming amount of surprise or shock to a bad result, okay?
Oh, I don't think I knew that egregious was shocking.
Right,
I just thought that it was,
meant
like, really, really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
No, it is. So here's the thing. Losing an Arrowhead to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs is not egregious. It is something that plenty of teams do. As a matter of fact, as you all know by now, 10,000 times over, the Colts are the only team that Patrick Mahomes had never beaten in the regular season. That is a difficult place to play. They've got 58,000, 78,000, 88,000 people, whatever the number may be. It's a great venue, and it's a tough place to play, and that is, over the last 8 years or so, 10 years, the best franchise in football. So going in there and losing that game is understandable, except for this. It was a bad loss because it should have been a win. They had that game within their grasp. They had that game where there was literally no reason that they should not have been able to hold on to it, except for Shane Steichen went away from who he is. Shane Steichen looked across the way, factored in everything, and then he puckered up. and they decided to punt on a play where normally he would go for it on a fourth down. I realize the field possession there, but you have to have confidence in your players. You have to have confidence in what's put you there. And what's put the Colts there is the fact that they have been able to make always the right call. Daniel Jones has been able to carry out what it is that Shane Steichen wants. And Daniel Jones wasn't able to carry out what Shane Steichen wanted. And Shane Steichen just said, you know what? I got to prop up my guy. I got to keep going to him. I got to keep going to him. I got to keep going to him. And as a result, they abandoned the biggest weapon they have on their offense in Jonathan Taylor, who not only gets you yards, not only gets you that first down, not only gets you probably one more score, but also keeps the ball out of the hands of Patrick Mahomes. And so then your high-priced corners have to go out there, and once again, they are sucking wind, not because you're in Denver. You are still some 800 miles to the east of it, but rather because they got no chance to get any sort of a breath because 12 plays, 13 yards, 3 and outs, not good.
Yeah, and I just think that, I don't want to, and I've said this on the show before, generally speaking, when the Colts lose, people point to the play calling. And it drives me nuts because the reason why the Colts are 8-3 and in first place largely is due to Shane Steichen and the play calling. I mean, he's still, I think, probably the front runner for Coach of the Year, even at this point. But Jonathan Taylor had 1 carry among the 9 offensive plays in the fourth quarter. And the other thing about carrying the football, Jake, is
it carries the clock.
It's a net positive because you run some clock.
Right.
So not only were the Colts not gaining any yards, they weren't running any time away.
Right.
And I think that was a problematic too. And Daniel Jones clearly didn't look comfortable. It's not that he didn't play poorly in the first 2.5 quarters. He just looked a little more timid, I think, late in the game. And I think some of the Steelers and Falcons stuff was sort of creeping into the back of his mind when he was getting pressured. But I think you just have to adjust and not try to overthink it. And I don't care if Jonathan Taylor's running into a stack box, into a brick wall. You at least have to mix that in when you're leading by 11 points in the fourth quarter, don't you?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, right?
And you got Tyler Warren. I felt like they didn't use Tyler Warren enough. I mean, you had a lot of weapons that they went to for an offense that has been complex and unpredictable at times. I thought that they went away from that and just became too vanilla. By the way, one of the things I love while we're at Hoagies and Hops, and aside from being Hoagies and Hops, which is fabulous, and aside from being able to carry each and every episode the name of Bailey and Wood, which we have so much pride to be able to be associated with a company that is a family-owned business on the south side of Indianapolis that is doing everything they can for their community. And then, of course, it goes without saying, being able to tell people about the great things going on at IU Indy and being able to tell people about the great work you can get done at your house at Chateau Kitchens. Aside from all of those things, being at Hoagies and Hops in Chili Water, one of the best things about it is when they take that 2-shot TV term of the two of us, seeing the jersey in the background of Stacey Turan is super cool. It's just super cool. Like it goes to and it speaks of, you got to go to this camera over here, by the way. Don't touch me. Do not. There we go. There's this. Sorry, I said 2-shot. The solo shot of Derek.
Wait. It's over. Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I'm pointing
there.
right at it. There it is.
Stacey Turan, who hit one of the most iconic shots in
awesome.
the history of Indiana high school basketball, the half-court shot, of course, in the 1980 Market Square Arena semifinals.
Broad Ripple, orange and black, right?
Broad Ripple, man.
Broad Ripple Rockets, orange and
Bill
black.
Smith, all of it.
It's got the
Absolutely
orange piping.
But that's what you get about, like, I'd like to think that this show is hyper-local. Hoagies and Hops, obviously, is hyper-local with Christina's Philadelphia mix in with it, and then Chili Water. I love everything about
speaking
it.
Speaking of excruciating losses, man, the Philly blew it too, 21-0 in that game.
Bring that up. She's very.
I know. Yeah, I don't want her to hear us back there. But for the people, getting back to Colts Chiefs, for the people that are knocking on the defense, I mean, again, 91 plays. The dam is going to break at some point.
Correct.
Especially against Mahomes. And while the Chiefs aren't putting up a ton of points, the Chiefs' problem has not been yards and offense. They're getting a lot of those things. In fact, if you look statistically in the NFL this season, they're doing very well in both of those categories. It's just that their red zone offense has not been great. And in the first half, I thought the Colts were fortunate that it was just 3 field goal drives, right? But still, the defense bucked up when they had to, and Zaire Franklin with the strip, right? You thought that was a game-changing play, but it kept going back to the offense, and they're getting 3 and outs. And eventually, you're just going to – any touchdown – even the 2 field goal drives, Jake, the 2 field goal drives in the third quarter, it felt like if the Colts would have just punched even one of those in the end zone, they were going to win that game.
Right.
And they couldn't do it.
Derek, let me ask you this. Right now with the college football playoffs before us, and we have the 12 teams, and we know that Indiana's safely in, Notre Dame and Miami, there's all this debate about them, whatever else. Give me 2 teams that if you were to stack if the NCAA playoff committee is stacking their 12 teams, give me the 2 teams that are just kind of floating down there that they're like, yeah, we don't know that they're really a playoff team, but if somebody completely implodes, we can put them in and probably be okay with it, and nobody's going to question it too much. Give me 2 teams that come to mind with that.
Well, the Texans are one, right? They're surging up here, so I would put them in that. If we were doing a college football playoff for NFL teams, I would put them there.
No, in the college football playoff. I didn't say the NFL. In the college football playoff.
We don't do college football until segment 2.
Work with me here, okay? How long have we been doing this show together?
We don't do.
Have I ever led you astray? When I do this, this is going to be another example where I'm going to go, and you go,
2.
"Oh gosh, I didn't know that's where you're going with that." Well, that's a really good point. I wish I'd thought of that. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Give me 2 teams in the college football playoff rankings right now that are on the outside looking in, but they're there. And if you have to put them in there, or if it turns out that they get in, you would say, "Yeah, I get it."
Vanderbilt.
Okay, Vanderbilt.
And if Texas beats A&M, I think
Vanderbilt and Texas.
People are going to argue for them.
Vanderbilt and Texas. The theory that I'm about to throw out, the question that I'm about to present to you for the Indianapolis Colts this year is one that right now is not one that you slot as probably one of your top 12 areas of discussion point. But it is possible that if things go awry in a couple of different areas, that you can plot this discussion point in there and nobody's going to think weird about it. It's going to be like Texas being in the college football playoff. You're going to go, yeah, okay, it makes sense. It's Texas. And that question is this. Right now, Derek, the Colts have lost 2 of 3. And right now, in one of those 2, they had an inability to hold on to the football. The other one, they just simply had an inability to get things on track offensively with Daniel Jones, okay? How many more games, or is it possible that if they don't get back on track and revert back to their late September, early October Colts, then is it a plausible talking point? Is it the Texas of the listing? Is it a plausible talking point to then begin questioning whether or not they prematurely sent not 1 but 2 first-round picks away, knowing that their quarterback future is still uncertain?
Well, not only that, just if Daniel Jones, if that coincides with Daniel Jones sliding back too, right?
Which I think it will. That's what would be the talking point.
I mean, I'll say this, Jake, and obviously it's a great question, and it's a relevant question. It's not one that I'm ready to answer right now. I need more of a sample than 3 games to declare whether or not they did. Because I love the fact that they went for it. You know what I mean? I defended the trade, and I said, yeah, you know what, you're giving up a lot, but let's go. I'm so just tired of the same 8-9, 9-8 type Colts.
We haven't gotten into this much, okay? I mean, obviously, like I think I was gone, since the Sauce Gardner acquisition. There's been a lot that's happened here. Let me ask you this question, and I want to be very clear here. I am not saying this in any way, shape, or form as an indictment on Sauce Gardner, who I think is a very good player and probably is going to round into what you are hoping that he was going to be.
He's
right?
Been great through 2 games.
I would agree with that.
Very good.
I would agree with that. And Shavarius Ward, I thought it was interesting.
Mooney Ward.
That's right. I think it was interesting that coming off of the injury, he was so candid about saying, I didn't know if I'd play again. So this is a guy that had 2 concussions in a short span of time, and the second one was so severe that he admitted he questioned whether or not he could play football again.
Scary stuff.
Okay, it is. I'm not making light of any of it. I certainly support any player of saying that injury is of concern for them. But when was the last time in any sport, especially in this town, and I'm not saying this rhetorically as if to say the answer is not existent. I'm literally having a brain fade, so you can help me out here, Derek. When is the last time that a team won a title or got pushed over the top where you went back and looked at it and said, it's because they acquired this all-pro level player? That was what put them over the top. When's the last time that there was a trade like that panned out where you said, yeah, that was it right there? As soon as they got that guy, it was over with.
I'm just going to go with the first local one that sort of popped into my head. But and this guy wasn't an all-pro, but he played a huge difference, was Booger McFarland.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I mean, Pascal Siakam changed
that's a good one.
things for the Pacers.
That's a good one.
I don't think people pointed to that right away. There aren't a lot of great NFL trade deadline deals, right?
There are a lot of them where you look back and you go, gosh, you remember how big a deal we thought that was?
Yeah.
Remember how big a deal it was that the Pacers got Andrew Bynum?
The Bears got Khalil Mack, remember that?
Yeah,
and we were like, oh, my God. And they got Chuck Pagano as their coordinator. And
Evan Turner. You remember when Evan Turner came here and said, oh, man, this is the final piece. My point being, you just have to proceed with caution. And he has looked so far to be as advertised. But my concern is that they were not ready. We were fooled into believing that they were a piece away, and I don't know yet that we can say that.
If you're asking me, is there a chance that all of this beautiful, majestic, pearly carriage that the Colts have ridden through the first 2.5 months of the season is just going to magically turn into a pumpkin? Is there a potential that happens? Absolutely. We see that happen all the time in the NFL. And Daniel Jones stinks, and they're looking for a new quarterback, and they made the wrong deal, and all of that.
Derek.
But we can only operate, Jake, on the information that we had at the time, and it's still a wide open lead.
I agree.
It's still a wide open lead.
Here's the thing. In Cinderella, the carriage turns. Is it Cinderella that turns into a pumpkin, or is there a prince that turns into a pumpkin?
No,
or
the
Cinderella
carriage turns into a pumpkin. Cinderella just turns back into like the housemaid, basically.
Okay.
So she loses the dress and the tiara and the slippers, but she leaves one glass slipper behind, and then
the carriage at midnight is like a Jeep that turns 100,000 miles, right? Like everything's fine, and then boom, pumpkin, right? Is that
well,
is that
especially your Jeeps? If we're talking about
I
track
know.
record here,
Okay,
yours always turn into that.
So with that, okay. In this situation, now I can't remember. It's not midnight that is turning the Colts into a pumpkin, okay? It's November, December. This schedule is totally different. And don't get me wrong, they handled the Chargers. They owned the Chargers. That was an impressive – and the Rams game, they should have won, and the Rams might be the best team in football right now.
They move the ball up and down the field all day against the Broncos.
Totally, right?
It's a great
However,
defense.
It gets real now. Because you've got 4 games against the 2 teams that are on your heels in the South. And yes, they're not necessarily like merging over, but objects in the mirror might be closer than they appear. And Houston and Jacksonville are right there. And Houston's defense is now finally the defense that we expected it to be. Then you've got, in addition to that, Seattle and San Francisco on your schedule.
San Francisco's good.
And Seattle is very similar to the Colts. Seattle and Indianapolis are the same franchises right now, except for that Seattle has yet to stub their toe, and Sam Darnold has yet to look at the clock and see that it's 11:45. That's the difference, right? Yeah. So it does get real for them.
You want my hot Colts take?
What is that opposed to your
here's my scalding hot Colts take. Okay. I think they're going to be fine.
I don't think that's a hot
take. I think they're going to be fine.
Hot take usually
they've
means
lost
like,
2 of 3,
I don't want to
and
go
everyone's
there.
like, "Oh my God, they shouldn't have made the Sauce trade." And Daniel Jones sucks, and all this. If they win, they're 3 home games.
Okay.
If they beat Jacksonville at home, they beat Houston at home, they beat San Francisco at home. They're undefeated at home this year. The offense has looked incredible at home this year. They're going to win the division. They're going to go 11-6, and that's going to be enough to win.
And
the
that's
division.
better than that. Beginning of the year, I said 10-7, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, you're the biggest optimist of all time." Yeah. So that exceeds even the best of expectations.
It guarantees you nothing. They could be one and done in the playoffs. I have no idea. But all you would do, the name of the game is get on the dance floor. That's the name of the game. It's not to go 15-2. It's not to go 14-3 and guarantee yourself the 1 seed. That's nice. It's nice to have the bye, but that doesn't guarantee you anything. All you do is put yourself in the best position, give yourself a home game.
I'd like to know
and
this.
Get on the dance floor.
I'd like to know this. I'd like to know how often you got on the dance floor at the Trumbull
That's a great
High
question.
Prom.
I always get on the dance floor. If there is any sort of dance floor, even if they haven't invited people to the dance floor, I get on the dance floor. If you have a dance floor, I'm dancing. Point blank, period.
Let me rephrase the question. I'd like to know how often you, in accompaniment, got on the dance floor.
In an accompanying? Like when I have a date?
Yes. Like how often did you have a dance partner on the dance floor?
Well, it's tough. I mean, in 8th grade, I threw up because I was nervous, and so my dad came to pick me up. So I did it. That's kind of an incomplete. So I did not have the opportunity to get on the dance floor. So that's not a conscious decision that I made. That was just my body reacting to outside stimuli.
8th grade, you went to middle school, right? Did you go to a 4-year high school?
Yeah.
So in 8th grade, you are literally the king of the castle.
Well,
8th grade, 1987 was one of the best years of my life. 8th grade at Eastwood Middle School, Indiana National Championship. I had Carla Shadio. I had Bruce Bowling. I had Rick Webb. I had awesome teachers. I had John and Chris Love and Matt Jacklin and Chris Farkas and Ryan Horvath and Eric Barrett and we were thick as thieves doing everything together. Marshall Gephardt, and we were the king. We were the top dog, man. Like I've never oozed more confidence in my life than I did as an 8th grader. How in the world possibly could you upchuck yourself when you are the oldest kid on the dance floor?
Picture having an 8th grade dance.
Okay.
And it's all normal, and it's all your friends from Eastwood, right?
Yeah, of course.
The entire West Lane school is there too.
All the better.
That's exactly what happened to us. We were at Madison, and Hillcrest came, and Hillcrest girls were there were rumors about them, and some of their kids just were out there with like beards and smoking cigarettes, and I was nervous. I think one of them, Aaron Palacia, had a switchblade that he was showing people at the dance, and I was just nervous. I was nervous about getting shanked or accidentally making contact with a girl that I didn't know, and yeah. So I'm sorry, sue me. Now I blossomed into a pretty nice flower because in high school, I mean, you see the package that it's become, but in high school I did just fine. So everything was fine after that. High school dances and things like that. High school I did just fine.
You had like borderline stalking charges.
Well, the problem in high school, I mean, just fine. Like I didn't throw up on myself again. So to me, that it was a low bar, but I crossed that bar at the very least. It wasn't really until college that things materialized for me because then I stopped becoming the guy that got pinned by a girl and the guy that threw up at the dance.
When did you start taking the low T supplements?
All those other things. What do you mean?
When did you start taking the testosterone?
Oh, when did I go to the testosterone clinic? Yeah. I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah. They were worried about me because the puberty train had not come chugging along to the station yet. Okay. Now, then it came. I mean, then it really came.
Okay.
All over the place. What were we talking about? We're talking about football?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were.
Colts? Yeah, I think the Colts are going to be fine.
I don't disagree.
This Houston game, though, Jake.
They put themselves in a good position, but
if they lose to Houston,
then it's DEFCON 2,
what do you say, Katie bar the door?
Yeah,
I mean, that's Katie bar the door. That is huge crisis, red flag.
Okay, let me throw you this theory, and then I want you folks to tell me if I'm crazy, okay? Is it possible, Derek? Is it possible that Houston now, and I think the world of this guy's a player. He's a ball placement specialist. But C.J. Stroud this year has not been a dynamic quarterback, and I know it sounds crazy, and in Houston I'm curious if they're having this conversation. But since Davis Mills took over, that defense is winning them games. They're winning in ball control, and now C.J. Stroud comes back. Is that almost subtraction by addition for Houston?
No,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I get defensive over there. I'm not a Ewing theory guy. You know Bill Simmons with the Ewing theory, where a team star player goes down and suddenly they become better, and you don't mess with that. And he always points to the '99 Knicks, and he claims that the '99 Knicks would not have gone to the finals had Ewing been healthy. Blew his Achilles against the Pacers in Game 1 or Game 2 of that Eastern Conference Finals series that the Knicks went on to win anyway. I'm not a Ewing theory guy. I think you want Stroud under center. But you're not wrong in the sense that the straw that stirs the drink for Houston is that defense. I mean, if it's not the best defense in the league, it's on the short list. And they've really resurrected their season. And you always are wary about the teams that are, again, I'm not a big momentum guy, but you're wary of the teams that, things are starting to click with them. I think Houston is a better team than Jacksonville. And Jacksonville probably should have swept them. Take the probably right out of it. They would have swept them had they protected a whatever it was, 25-point or 24-point fourth quarter lead a couple of weeks ago. But I am very worried about Houston. But you win that home game, Jake, and I still think that things start to Colts haven't been home in over a month. You don't think about it because, technically the Falcons game in Berlin counted as a home game, but they haven't been home in over a month.
Have you been to Berlin?
No. I want to go back to the mother country someday.
Munich was unbelievable.
No, I bet.
Do you know that we were in
You're
Munich?
a very well international travel now that you've taken basically an international trip, the last 4 or 5 years running post-COVID?
I've been very lucky for certain. It can be done fairly – the key is to find an area you can go to because with the train system over there, you can knock out like 2 or 3 places in once, and then it sounds far more
Mass
impressive.
transit? What's that?
I know. Yeah, no kidding.
Whoa.
So check this out. So we go to Munich. And I don't know what I was expecting, Derek. I thought Munich was going to be like this – 1970s office park, cement building, just kind of cold, sterile environment type
Cold
city.
War era.
Yeah, and so we go to Munich, and our hotel was – here's a little tip for everybody. If you have to fly in or out of Munich, the Munich Hilton at the airport is not only one of the nicest hotels I've ever stayed in, it is literally – there's the 2 terminals, and then the building in between the 2 terminals is the Hilton. So from the shower – and I did dry off and change. From the shower to the security line was a 12-minute walk.
Wow.
From your hotel room, right? The greatest thing ever. But anyway.
I've become an exclusive Hilton guy, by the way. I'll only stay in Hiltons. Marriott's have let me down recently. I'm only staying in Hiltons.
How did they let you down?
I was a big Marriott guy for a while.
Okay.
We stayed in one recently that was not
they had like a Christmas mart in the middle of it. I mean, and I never heard an airplane. That was the weirdest thing. I'm like, is this really an airport?
Wow.
But nonetheless, I digress. So we get there, we check into the hotel, and I'm like, okay, we have to go to the Hopbrow House. I'm assuming I'm saying that correctly. It's the Rathskeller on steroids. It's the Munich legendary 500-year-old beer place, right?
Nice. Okay.
So we go out there. I go to the cabbie, who, by the way, all the cabs are lined up. They're all Mercedes station wagons. So I say to the cab driver, hey, can you take us here? And he says, well, that's like 45 kilometers away. I'm like, well, okay, well, I came from 4,500 kilometers away, so we might as well go ahead and roll with it, right? So we get in it. We're driving. It's like 8 o'clock at night. It gets dark there at 4:30, so it feels like it's 2 in the morning. We're rolling along, and I look at the speedometer. You know, it's a digital speedometer, and it's in kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And I go, so I say to Shannon, I don't know the translation, but we're going 206 kilometers an hour. So I get up my phone.
Are you on the Autobahn?
We're on the Autobahn.
Yeah.
And we were doing 127 miles an hour.
Hell yeah.
And I never should have pointed that out to Shannon because it went from like, well, this is cool to now all of a sudden like we're riding the beast.
Yeah.
And then, but the one thing that I noticed is the interstate there, the Autobahn, it was like being on the main straight of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was the smoothest.
That's all. Yeah.
There was not a single
Perfect.
bump,
Yeah.
not a single. I mean, it was unbelievable. And everybody kept like 40 car lengths from each other. I mean, it literally was like, it felt safer than being on Kessler.
I've done in the car with you where you're doing like $1.05, $1.10.
Yeah.
I-4 from Tampa to Orlando, I was doing like 110 the entire way.
You know, they had those
We were trying to get to Disney Springs. And we were trying to make good
Hilton.
time. And I was doing like 110 miles an hour. And Ashley still talks about it. She was like afraid for it. My in-laws were in the car. And they were all like afraid for their lives.
When we went to the Hopbrow House, the one thing that was...
Don't drive fast, by the way. Like the stuff that we talk about on the show, like smoking cigarettes and like, you know, going on $1.10. Like don't do the stuff that we do. We should probably put that disclaimer. Like don't do the things that we talk about on the show, right?
Sure.
Okay.
So
Just want to get that out there.
We go to the Hopbrow House, and while we're sitting there, I'm like, and it is a super cool place, right? It's exactly what you'd think. I mean, they got, you know, the polka band playing, or I don't know if it's polka, but whatever it is, and, you know, the leader, what do you call it?
We got basketball and still a lot of stuff to get to.
What do you call that?
Let's kind of
leader Hosen?
Yeah, let's put this at double speed.
Leader Hosen?
Like podcast speed.
Or leader Hausen.
Let's go.
At any rate, I'm reading the history of the venue and then figure out or come to learn that inside the facility where we were sitting is where the Nazi Party was formed and solidified and like recruited, and then that became very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, there's a history.
There's a historical aspect to it, but it almost felt like it was like ish. I don't even want to know that. I don't want to post that we're here.
What I've always heard, in all seriousness, what I've always heard over there is that their history is something that they don't try to hide from, that they're serious about, and they're like, hey, look, this stuff happened. There's nothing that we can do to change it, but we have to make sure that this does not happen again. And I wish there were other countries in the world that maybe treated their history the same way.
That's
but
fair.
I'll leave it there.
We got to get to basketball.
And we got to get to our Hoagie and Hero of the Week from
and
Hoagies and Hops.
the Jags report. The Jags report as well. So we got a ton to get to, right?
Yeah, we do. This is Query and Schultz, brought to you by Bailey & Wood Financial Group.
Are we eating
Hoops,
turkey today?
Football,
we should eat turkey today.
Sandos,
It's turkey week.
Brews. A lot of fun stuff coming up here. Don't go anywhere here on the ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey & Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey & Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Query and Schultz, presented by Bailey & Wood Financial Group here on the ISC Sports Network. Bailey & Wood Financial Group, 855-350-HOME. BAWFG.com for our friends at Bailey & Wood. Mike Wood and his team will give you 5-star customer service, whether you're looking to refi or you're looking to get pre-approved for that home mortgage. Bailey & Wood is going to take care of you. They're also amazing in the community, and they've been fantastic partners of ours for the last couple of years on this show. 855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. Almost 20 Indiana branch locations, so you can walk into a physical Bailey & Wood location
How
near
great
you.
is that? Just to be able to walk in, right, have the personal interaction.
It's awesome.
Face-to-face.
Thanks to Christina for making us a fresh Sando. It is Turkey week, right?
Of course.
Thanksgiving.
Gobble,
So many of their sandwiches have turkey, right? The Market Street has turkey on it. Brotherly Love has turkey on it. But my favorite turkey that they do is the Always Sunny. This is delicious. Let me make sure that I can get everything on here. So the Dietz and Watson chopped turk, right? You got a little prove on here. You have bacon bits. You have LT, peppadoo pep, banana pep, horsey mayo. I think I got everything on the Licio's delicious bread from South Jersey. Awesome. Oh, wait, I got to move my mic.
They sneak horsey mayo on mine. This is unbelievable. This is like honestly, look, Thanksgiving week, this is basically fully stuffed turkey right there. I mean, you know what I mean? It's
This should be your meal.
fully dressed turkey for sure. Unbelievable. And by the way, since chili water is attached right here to Hoagies and Hops, and chili water, the very best. I mean, whether you're in Fountain Square or right here at 40, what are we at there? 42nd and Boulevard? Can you say that again, please? 42nd and Boulevard. Right here. The Big Chill. Perfect. I mean, this is, again, the rice lager, right? But, and the rice lager makes it super smooth, but the can itself, I mean, that just absolutely says, like, you know what? The Cowboys are coming on. It's Thanksgiving. It's after dinner. Let's just sit back and relax. But we double dipped here, Derek. I'm going with the Big Chill, the rice lager, and you went back to one of the staples.
Team Builder. And I have a feeling this is a little bit more of a summery beer. And
That's
obviously
still good.
we're getting into the winter months now. So if you still want the Team Builder, got to get over here to Chili Water Brewing because I think it'll come out of the can rotation here pretty soon. But it's probably my favorite beer that they do here, honestly. And I love it all year round, by the way.
The subtle sweetness and kick of the pepper in this sandwich is perfect.
Delicious. Yeah.
It's the perfect combination.
Is that rice lager? Remember, what was the one
Yeah.
called that was done by the cycling group?
Yes, because it's got cyclers on it.
Yeah, that New Zealand one that we had. It was
Yes.
like a New Zealand rice lager, and that was really good. Arc, I think it was called, that they did as well. I mean, I love every beer that Chili Water Brewing does, so I'll leave it there. Jermaine Pratt, our hero of the week. It was a little bit difficult to find a Colts hero because I don't think he really had a lot of standout performances in that game, but I'm giving him credit for the last couple of weeks, too. Not just the fact that he had 20 tackles, and I think he did what he could to stem the KC tidal wave that came with the amount of plays that they were running. But Pratt, here's a guy that's a veteran, had played under Lou Anarumo back in Cincinnati, and they basically got him off the street, and he really solidified that second linebacker spot alongside Zaire Franklin because that was a spot that Chris Ballard and the front office really kind of ignored. Jalen Carlisle, who I think they were assuming was going to be back, but he's had health issues throughout his career. Now he is back, thankfully. I think they were assuming that he was going to be healthy and going to be fine and be their second linebacker, but they had like Joe Bocci and Cam McGrone, and no offense to those two guys, especially McGrone, who's an indie guy, but they're just not – they're like practice squad level players, and both of them, of course, ended up being waived. Pratt is a guy that gets it. He's been a rock-solid NFL player for his entire career, and he's solidied the middle of the Colts defense.
And to be able to come in, to your point, Derek, and kind of plug and play, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what you want when you get a veteran.
And yes, he, in particular, in the first half of that game, he was really, the first quarter alone, he was very solid in just setting a tone that allowed for their defense to have some element of stability to it before, obviously. I just think, again, I go back to, I think their offensive inefficiency then compromised the freshness of their defense.
Very fair.
Speaking of freshness, this sandwich is
I know.
unbelievable.
Let's stick with football. And sorry, I'm going to talk while I'm chewing through. Always sounds so good. Stick with football just real quickly, college football. 100th Old Oak and Bucket game. So a milestone game between IU and Purdue. IU, a huge favorite, and rightfully so. They're 11-0, and Purdue's 2-9 for a reason. How about this, Jake? IU has a chance to string together a winning streak in the Old Oak and Bucket rivalry for only the second time in 30 years. They won 4 straight during the Darrell Hazel era, so 2013-16 with Kevin Wilson, right? And I think Tom Allen would have been the last team, the 2016 team that was on there. But or maybe he started in 2017. I'm trying to remember. But anyway, they have not won consecutive games in any other year since doing it in 93, 94 with Bill Mallory. But I mean, now you look at it, and I was talking to a couple of Purdue fan buddies of mine, and they're wondering, if Purdue's ever going to win this game again. With the way that Indiana has shot up, while Purdue, unfortunately, has stayed in the doldrums of major college football here in Barry Odom's first year. I do think they're better, and I think we're going to get a much more competitive Purdue effort, obviously, than what we saw last year, right? 66-0 when and they were kind of checked out. But there's no reason to think that IU won't win this in a runaway. And then speaking of runaways, Notre Dame just absolutely obliterates Syracuse.
That was unbelievable.
I've never seen something like to be up 21-0 without taking an offensive snap. I'm sure that's happened in football history. I don't remember it ever happening.
It was over at that point,
yeah.
right?
And you know, they've got Stanford, who has shown some life. Frank Reich actually deserves his flowers. That is not a good Stanford team, and they've scratched and clawed their way to 4 wins. They beat Cal, their biggest rival, which is the only
Cal's
game.
Coach fired.
Yeah, which is the only game that most Stanford fans care about anyway. So credit to Andrew Luck and Frank Reich for doing that. I know it's a temporary thing for Reich, but if Notre Dame pounds Stanford, look, the college football rankings are tonight. I know Miami's creeping up. I just don't know how you drop them. And I get it. The resume is not great. USC's their best win, and USC's okay. USC's probably like the 23rd best team in the country, and that's your only win, which doesn't look great. And then you have some secondary wins, like Navy's okay. Pitt's okay.
Pitt's okay, yeah.
Even though I think the ACC stink. It'll be interesting to see what Miami does against Pitt. You know,
Miami already played them.
No, they play them this week, don't they?
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
You're right.
I
Notre
think they
Dame's
do.
already played them. You're right.
Notre Dame's played him, and that was a game that really, Pitt scored a last-second touchdown.
Because I
to make it
remember
look better
looking
than
at,
it was.
if you can follow this, with Miami. In the Miami Notre Dame discussion, I was looking at it saying, okay, which one gets the more resounding stamp to end the regular season, like to go into it? And I'm going,
Miami
okay,
does.
well,
Yeah.
Miami's got a chance with Pitt. But Notre Dame's already handled Pitt and handled them pretty easily. So that kind of washes it out, right?
Yeah, and it's tough because head-to-head has to count. It has to. They played. You have to count that. But eye test, is part of this too, and that's what the committee does. And I just think I'm trying not to look at this with rose-colored glasses because, Jake, I have some ties to Notre Dame and all of that. But, if you watch them play,
what ties do you have to Notre Dame?
Because I grew up a big fan of them and all of that. So I can't be all the way objective, right? Because I grew up loving Notre Dame football.
I have ties to Vanessa Marcel.
No, I just meant
I grew up a huge fan.
I just meant as a fan. I don't mean that I went there or anything like that. But I don't know what we're doing here. I've got 2 calls that are happening at the same time. But I do think that you watch them and they're a top 10 team.
I hate saying this. It pains me to say it. But Ohio State, and I know that Ohio State, in terms of their resume, you look at it and you go, I don't know, what's Ohio State done that like really jumps out at you? Except for that it feels like Ohio State is just like sleepwalking their way through it. And as soon as like the lights turn on, they're going to flip that switch and it's over. But I look at, and I think Indiana's really, really good. And I think Indiana can hang with Ohio State. But outside of that, is A&M legit here? I would assume, because to do what they've done in the SEC is very impressive. But I don't know for certain, right? It's difficult for me to truly be able to tell where, and that's the beauty of the college football playoff, when you have 12 teams in there. If you had to pick just 4 this year, it would be really, really tough because there seems to be a lot of interchangeability between certainly 3 through 10, in my opinion. So I'm going to be fascinated to see what comes down the pipe just in terms of, and they should have done this forever ago, but it's going to be awesome. Once again, like when the weather's not great and whatever else, and there's games on to sit around during the holidays and watch, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and look, it's all going to work itself out. I mean, there's
going to work itself out. You get your little email snafu taken care
there's
of.
There's not a far-fetched situation that Notre Dame and Miami both make the playoff. I mean, I think everything's going to be fine. This stuff always ends up happening and all of that. But I think it's an interesting year because I just don't think Ohio State is the team that they were last year. I think actually Indiana is better than they were last year, but I don't think that there's some like unstoppable force. And then the rest of it appears to be wide open. Like I don't think I'd want to play Georgia. I don't think I'd want to play Alabama. I don't think I'd want to play that Oklahoma defense. I wouldn't want to play that Notre Dame offense. You look at some of these other teams and they have elite attributes as well that if you get hot, like I don't think people wouldn't have picked Notre Dame to go. People wouldn't have picked Ohio State to make the run. I don't think that they did last year, and they played each other in the championship
Who wins
game.
the Heisman?
It's still Mendoza's to lose.
I would agree, and I'll tell you why. Last week, to me, put Mendoza that much further ahead. And I know that Jeremiah Love's been unbelievable, and he merits consideration. But Notre Dame doesn't have a statement win, statement game, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State had a game where Ryan Day essentially said, we're going to take Julian Sayin out of the mix. We'll throw him 11 times. We're going to run the ball. And yet they pounded Rutgers. I mean, it's Rutgers. I get it. But the point being, and I mean this is no disrespect to Julian Sayin, who is, by all account, a fabulous player and merits conversation for the Heisman. But Ohio State fans, I want you to answer this honestly. Answer it honestly. If Julian Sayin was not your quarterback and you had to airdrop in, Derek, give me a mid-tier Power 5 program that's just like out there, and as far as you know, maybe they might play in like some, Quaker State Bowl. Go.
Pitt.
Pitt's in contention. I mean, they're ranked. A non-ranked team. A team that's like they're maybe 5 and 7.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. That's exactly what
Minnesota's the ultimate example.
So if you take Minnesota's quarterback and airdrop him onto Ohio State, guess what? The Buckeyes right now, 11-0, right?
Probably, yeah.
He's throwing to 3 different guys that are all going to be playing on Sundays. You take Minnesota's quarterback and you airdrop him into Indiana's team, 8-4, right? That's the difference. That's no disrespect to Indiana, but what Mendoza's been doing, Mendoza has his best receiver go out, and so what do? They bring in a guy that, yes, has played and, yes, has made plays for them, but not to this level, and immediately he goes to them and back-to-back 100-yard games. That's on the quarterback.
Yeah, but sorry, I took a big bite. It's such a good sandwich. This offense was great with Curtis Rourke last year, too.
Understood. I get it.
And
Not
Surratt
to this level.
and Cooper and all those guys. I mean, like
that's fair.
I don't know if I agree with if you take Mendoza off IU, they go 8-4. I don't think I agree with that.
If you take Mendoza essentially out of a game, do they beat Rutgers by 40?
Yeah, I think they go 10-2, and they probably lose at Penn State because you don't have a guy that's going to put together the drive that he did at the end, even though he didn't play great in that Penn State game or the Iowa game. Even the best thing you can say about Mendoza is that when the chips have been down this season, he's come through,
right? And
that's what you want from a great player and from a Heisman winner.
Admittedly, there have been a couple of times where he's the one that flipped the chip over to begin with.
Well,
right?
fair, yeah. Like I said, he didn't cloak himself in glory in the first 3 quarters in either of those games. But again, when the game was on the line, he found a way. And you haven't really been able to see that with Sayin because Ohio State's games have been so one-sided.
Right.
But I think, if I was filling out a ballot today, it would be Mendoza 1, Love 2, Sayin 3. I don't even know who else I would consider, honestly, at this point.
The kid at Alabama?
I guess. Were you ever a Heisman voter?
Yes, one time.
Did you fill out? Is it 5? How many do you fill out? I thought it was 5.
I think it was 5.
Okay,
I know Breeze was on there. Wanky won it. I voted for
Tomlinson.
Yeah,
Tomlinson here. Man, what a class that was! And then Wanky ends up winning it. It's like when Jason White wins it, right, for Oklahoma, a couple of years after that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as far as college football is concerned. College basketball wise. Both Purdue and IU are ranked, which sadly has become a rare thing. You got 1 in 25, right? But congrats to IU sneaking in the rankings. They've got a game tonight. So while we're taping this against Kansas State, who's a Ken Pom top 50 team, and really kind of the first, I know they played Marquette, but Marquette's not been good to start this season. So Indiana has not played a lot of great teams, but they still have remaining games against Louisville and Indy, and then they play Kentucky at Rupp. In December, and then, Purdue just keeps on keeping on. They won their 5th straight MTE. They've been MTE dominant in the last 5 years, just killing the best MTE team in the country in all of these events, all of these MTEs. They're Mr. MTE. They won a rock fight with Memphis and then thrashed Texas Tech by 30, and so 5 straight MTE trophies for Purdue.
I knew it.
You knew what?
I knew it. When you're on the Autobahn, as I was a week ago, you know when traffic's coming because all of a sudden people flash their lights. You get over, boom, they go flying past you. And I knew. I saw the lights flashing. I heard the traffic coming. And boom, I knew it was going to happen. I see a tweet post on the X Post Twitter from Derek earlier this week where he says, Purdue and their MTE. And I think to myself, I have no idea what an MTE is. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that they have too much of it in bad Chinese fast food. I don't know if that's the music network that has the rocket that launches off. Dun, 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 dun.
MTV.
But I'm like, the MTE. I don't know if that's like the original variation of cellular technology that took place that used to advertise during the games at the Hoosier Dome. But an MTE, I knew Derek was just going to go on and on about it. The MTE, the warp, vorp, bat launch angle, velocity, speed, MTE. And then I realized, I'm like, I can't be alone here. 5% of the audience right now knows what an MTE
Brad, you know
is.
what an MTE is? Yeah, see?
He doesn't know.
Oh, he just nodded, I thought. Did he not nod?
He said he does not know.
He's a football guy. He's not a Vince, do you know what an MTE is?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
He's a pro basketball guy. Greg, do you know what
Of course,
MTE is?
Rake
Rake knows. Yeah.
Multi-team event.
Yeah. Multi-team event.
You know what? I've got news for you. I mentioned earlier, and I'll mention it for the 17th time, I was just in Europe. When you're in Europe, you see a lot of old history. Old history. You go back and you're watching about, you read about like games that were played like I went to the site of the 72 Olympics. No, not the 1972 Olympics, the 1672 Olympics. Like they have history that goes all the way back then, right? And all the way back then, when they have all of these sports that took place back then, Roman Greco wrestling and, variations of lacrosse and stickball and all these things. You know what they call them ever since then for the last 600 years? Tournament. Hey, guess what? It's a tournament.
You're mad about this.
Why would you go with multi-team
so
event when
mad?
you can? There's already a term for it, a tournament.
MTE.
Nobody knows what that is, Derek. Nobody knows what that is.
I mean,
you don't
Purdue
sound
Looks
overly.
the part for sure. They've run roughshod over teams in MTEs for years now. They've had 2 straight senior classes who have not lost an MTE game and just one MTE. So let's move on, though, Jake. Congratulations to Purdue. Let's move on. And how about Butler as well? They won the MTE in Greenville. A great MTE win for Butler. They're 5-1. Beat Power 4 competition. They beat South Carolina and Virginia. Those are the other teams as part of the multi-team event.
The tournament.
The MTE.
It's a tournament.
Yeah. In Greenville, South Carolina. So we had two MTE.
Let me ask you something, Derek.
Is Indiana playing
Let me ask you
MTE?
something. You're getting ready to go to Mexico on this swingers trip, right? You call it an orgy, or are you calling it a multi-couple
Whoa.
event? Which is it?
Whoa,
Just say
whoa,
orgy.
whoa, whoa,
Everybody knows
okay,
what an orgy
whoa.
is. Why are you coming out and saying like, yeah, we're getting ready to go to this multi-couple,
Vince, let's timestamp that.
physical interpersonal event? No, it's an orgy. Just say it.
Okay.
It's a tournament. It's not a multi-team event. It's a tournament. Just say tournament.
mark that.
Everybody knows what that means.
Let's get that in post. Yeah, I don't know why we're so angry about
We're going
this.
with 14 other couples on this cruise.
It's
and
what
it's
it's factually
multi-couple
called.
event. It's an orgy.
You know, what you guys do in
a
your
swinger
free
cruise.
time, you and Shannon, that's fine with me. Like, God bless you. What consenting adults do with one another is not my concern. I'm just talking about Butler winning in Greenville.
We're going on an MPE, a multi-partner event.
Just talking about Butler being 5-1. Good for Thad Mata and Butler. You know, it looks like. And I went to go see them play against USI, and I thought that was not an MTE, and I thought they played well. So, good for the Dogs. I so desperately want Butler to be a good basketball team again and be in the tournament again and be relevant and matter. And so far, so good.
I have a hard time getting a feel for Butler.
Michael Jaye looks like a really nice addition for them, and I think they're in good shape. I think they're in good shape to have a nice season.
He's done a good job of rebuilding that roster for certain.
It's been a slog.
I have a hard time getting a feel for them.
Well, it's because they got 11 new players. So, Bizjack is the only guy that I think ended up coming back.
Speaking of basketball, by the way, it is part of our IU Indy Jags report, talking about Division I athletics right here in downtown Indianapolis. Yes, in fact, IU Indy. And listen, one of the great things about IU Indy, aside from the fact that here's an opportunity for fabulous education, here's an opportunity to see Division I athletics right here in downtown Indianapolis. I have mentioned before, and I'm a big believer in this, for a lot of kids to be able to go down to a game there, see college basketball, see volleyball, see any of the different sports, a world-class natatorium where you've had people punching their ticket to the Olympic Games in the MNE multinational event.
Would you stop?
Better known as simply the Olympics.
Would you
okay?
stop?
All of that, you get a chance to introduce young people in particular to the college experience at IU Indy. But you also get to see Division I athletics right here in Indianapolis and a number of it. Let's begin with recapping a little bit some of the seasons at IU Indy like volleyball. Horizon League championships, they went out, they beat Milwaukee, and then they did drop in 5 to Northern Kentucky. But what a year. What a year for the Jags of IU Indy and Horizon League. They had the setter of the year. They had not 1, not 2, not 3, but 10 sweeps over the course of the year. They had the 2025 Indiana Miss Volleyball on her way in now, so the future is very, very bright. And Andrew Kroger, great job leading them, 18-14, 11-7 in the Horizon League for volleyball. And if you have not seen volleyball played at a high level, it is nonstop, like the momentum swing of it. It is almost a nerve-wracking sport to watch, but it's awesome. So be sure to mark your calendar in the future next year. Go out and see some IU Indy volleyball. I mentioned the Natatorium, one of the fabulous venues in all of the world, really, when it comes to swimming and diving, and that's the reason why IU Indy has athletes on display right there at the Natatorium. And the House of Champions Invitational, record-breaking performances did take place throughout it. This was an MTE, Derek. That is a
multi-team event.
Thank you.
It rolls off the tongue.
The women of IU Indy finished 6th out of 14. The men finished first
All
out
right.
of 11 teams in their MTE in January. Just one meet in January in terms of swimming and diving at the Natatorium. But the Horizon League Championships, you'll hear us talking about it in February. So all of the schools will be there for the Natatorium for the Horizon League men's and women's swimming. Now let's get to basketball. You just saw a little of it there from the men's standpoint here. The men in basketball, although we'll start with the women, that is coming up on Wednesday. I want to let you know that they had their autograph day. That is tomorrow, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you want to see those ladies playing for IU Indy, your chance to get autographs as well. 1 o'clock coming up Wednesday at the Jungle on the IU Indy campus. They are taking on Anderson. Men's side of thing, they host Morehead State coming up this Saturday. So 2 days after Thanksgiving, 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the Jungle for IU Indy. Then December 6th, they will be up against Youngtown State. December 11th, they are taking on Green Bay for the Indianapolis City edition of the Horizon League. Excuse me on that. McGuire Mitchell, by the way, the Horizon League Freshman of the Week. I do want to mention that. McGuire Mitchell, the Freshman of the Week. Indianapolis City edition, I should say. Indianapolis City edition, December 11th against Green Bay. So plenty of games taking place in the Jungle from both men's and women's standpoint. That men's team plays at a high-flying level of offense.
Fun to watch.
Had a couple of games that they dropped, but they are fun to watch because they are not strangers at all to putting the basketball up. And again, Indianapolis City edition, December 11th, also at home December 6th. All the ticket information, iuindyjags.com/tickets. That's iuindyjags.com/tickets.
When we come back on Corey and Schultz, a very quick hits. Then we'll break for a final time and get to Chateau Kitchen's Buy It or Bull Bleep. It's Query and Schultz, presented by Bailey Wood Financial Group.
Buy it or bullshit.
From Chili Water Brewing Tap Room and Hoagies and Hops, 42nd and Boulevard. Thanks for joining us here on the ISC Sports Network.
At Bailey and Wood.
Welcome back. Bailey and Wood presents Query and Schultz. ISC Sports Network.
That Big Chill was fabulous. Rice
One of my
beer
quick
smooth.
hits was the Heisman race odds, which we already kind of talked about. Jeremiah Love went from plus 4,000 to plus 400 after that game. So he's
You wonder how much he's going to take advantage of the fact that the quarterback voters will split. Right?
Yeah, but and how cool is it to have two Indiana? I know Notre Dame's kind
That
of its own
is pretty
entity. I don't even really view Notre Dame. Notre Dame fans get mad about this. I don't view Notre Dame as an Indiana entity.
No,
I think
national
they're-
brand.
Yeah, they're their own entity. I mean that actually kind of as a compliment.
And it's 3 hours outside of the Indianapolis market, which is the epicenter
That's true.
market for Indianapolis.
But,
for Indiana.
but Mendoza is still the heavy favorite. Colts will be missing Ashton Doolin, a very underrated absence. Key wide receiver, special teams ace, going to miss some time according to Shane Steichen. He suffered a hamstring injury against the Chiefs. Colts will undoubtedly miss him,
Ashton Doolin.
but they did get Anthony Gould back recently, so I think he can fill some of those roles. Obviously, they don't have A.D. Mitchell anymore, so we'll see. But finally, I wanted to get to this in quick hits because we went a little bit over because Jake was talking about lederhosen and such. A woman in Thailand was found alive in a coffin after being dropped off to be cremated.
Okay.
The woman shocked temple staff when she started moving in her coffin after being brought in for cremation. The Buddhist temple where she was brought, the general and financial affairs manager told the Associated Press on Monday that the 65-year-old woman's brother drove her to be cremated. The brother said his sister had been bedridden for 2 years, and when her health deteriorated and she became unresponsive, appearing to stop breathing 2 days ago, the brother placed her in a coffin and drove 300 miles to a hospital in Bangkok. Unfortunately, the hospital said, hey, you don't have a death certificate, so we can't cremate your sister. So since they refused to accept that, he drove her to the temple. The temple offers a free cremation service which is why the brother approached them, but he couldn't. They also refused because she couldn't give the missing document. But while he was explaining how to get the death certificate and all of that, they heard.
Excuse me.
There's some knocking on the coffin. So they take the crowbar, pop open the coffin, and their sister saying, "What the hell's going on? Where am I?"
Actually, she just did this.
Oh God.
You know about
imagine?
you know about the magician, right?
I'll tell you this. If somebody is in a coffin and they're knocking, I'm not opening it. Somebody else is going to have to open that thing. I'm running. I'm booking it out the door.
Well, sometimes
I'm
it's
gone.
just the natural gases escaping.
No, I'm gone. Bye.
You know, there's a
See ya.
There was a
They
magician,
suffocate in there. It's not on
magician
me.
one time stands up on a stage, says, "Look, I got a great act I can do. You come up with a sledgehammer. I got a sledgehammer right here. Just hit me in the head as hard as you want." Pulls a guy out of the crowd. The guy wings back, big guy too, McGuire looking dude. Right in the middle of the head. Boom. Out. Magician out cold. Failed magical act.
Oh, I thought there was like a punchline to a joke. You're
4 months
telling
later,
a
he
real
wakes
story.
up in the hospital bed and goes, "Ta-da!" There you go.
Okay, so it wasn't.
So that's maybe what the sister was doing.
Okay, that's it for quick hits. You know what? We should have just ditched quick hits. We don't have to do quick hits. We just did it because I wanted to. Tell
You're the one that's got your little
coffin
notes over
story.
there. I'm just rolling
And
along.
now, yeah.
I'm just playing along.
Now we have to end with that.
Going along with it.
Bite or Bull Bleep, we come back and we'll tie a bow on this thing. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC.
Nice snap.
Mortgages and a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Hey, AC.
Nice snap.
Mortgages and a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Back for a final time. Tap Room, Hoagies and Hops, 42nd Boulevard. Thanks to Christina and the crew for always letting us in the door. They haven't locked the doors yet on our crew, which is nice. So they
Place is
continue to
awesome.
want us to be here.
This place is
Hoagiesandhops.com,
awesome.
by the way, for holiday catering. I know holiday party season is upon us, but holiday catering, Hoagiesandhops.com, they do amazing sandwich trays, pickle trays, meat trays, cheese trays, salad trays, the whole deal. Go online and check out all their offerings. You can call up and get those trays to your holiday party, and you'll be the hit of the holiday party. And then Santa is coming December 14th, 2 to 5. Sunday, December 14th.
Okay.
Santa will be here at Hoagies
You
and
come
Hops.
sit on his lap.
I do every year. Christmas tradition. Also a tradition on this show, Bite or Bull Bleep, brought to you by our friends at Chateau Kitchens. At Chateau Kitchens on Instagram and Facebook for before and after pictures. They are in the business of in-home transformation. So whether it be your basement, your bathroom, or bathrooms, plural, your kitchen as well. They've done all three of those things for me. Anything on the interior of your home, Chateau Kitchens can do that for you. Call Steven and his team or message them, chateaukitchens.com, and get that project rolling for 2026. It's weird to think that it's...
I know. It's crazy.
I remember one time Indiana did a schedule announcement for like 2017, and I was like, whoa, like 2017, what?
I know.
And now, we're almost a decade past that. Bite or Bull Bleep, statement number one, the Colts will have to replace Daniel Jones at the end of the season. Oh, my God.
No. Have to? No. Want to? Maybe. But I'll say no. I'm going to say that the rocky nature – rocky's the wrong word because you're on water. What do you call a ship that's like topsy-turvy? Not rocky, because that's like if you're on like a covered wagon, right? It's rocky. But the
Choppy waters?
Choppy waters. The choppy waters they're under right now, I do think stabilize just a little bit. Do you like turbulence on an airplane?
I think they're going to –
Does it bother you?
Who likes turbulence on an airplane?
But does it, let me
what kind
rephrase
of question
that.
is that?
Does it bother you?
Do you like the smell of human feces? Yeah, actually, I think it's great.
People like the smell of gasoline.
No, I don't like turbulence. If you sign somebody else, I haven't even looked at the vet free agents. Who are you going to get that, right? You're not going to draft somebody because you punted your first round picks. I don't think you're going to draft somebody. So
Anthony Richardson.
I think you have to, no, that's over.
Richardson.
That's over. That's long over.
Hey, remember me?
I was told by somebody that,
I'm here.
this was like way more than
I
just
think that's-
like a fluke. Like
think
I got
that-
hit in the eye.
I think it's pretty serious. Yeah.
Like they were at first glance maybe worried that he might lose his eye.
Yeah.
Like that's how serious that injury was. So it's very, very serious. But long term, no, I think we've talked about that on the show. They've moved on. Both Indiana and Purdue will be safely in the NCAA tournament. But I mean, let's
Buy
take
it.
Purdue out of
Buy
it. You know what that
Buy
question
it.
should be? Both Butler and Indiana will
Right.
be NCAA tournament.
And
How about that?
Well, and I don't know about safely because I don't know enough about Butler yet. But I do think Indiana's going to be good. I think Indiana's going to have one of those years that, you're kind of flirting around with others receiving votes and into the, as high as like 16, 18, then back down again after a couple losses, but you're in the thick all the time. You end up being a 6 seed, you win a tournament game or two, and a nice foundation.
Yeah, like look, if IU is in the 8-9 game and they win and then they lose to Arizona, that's a great season.
I would agree with
that's
that.
a great season
I'd
for
agree
IU.
with that.
And a great
Especially
first step for
a
Darren
group of
DeVries.
guys that didn't know each
No,
other
of
that are
course.
wearing name tags.
They just cobbled
It's
this
like
thing
me and
together.
you. Like they just throw these two guys together and then boom.
And then they become best friends.
Don't touch
who
me.
will probably I think I'll eulogize you, right? Either me or Byron. Byron doesn't strike me as a public speaker. He seems to be nervous.
That's correct.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. So I would be the
Byron would
eulogy
forget
person.
his notes.
I'd be the eulogy person.
No, yeah.
Or forget what day your funeral was, perhaps. I didn't have a statement 3. You got one?
You know what would happen?
Usually you're fill in the blank.
Byron's
They're good.
Byron's the guy that will take me actually to go get cremated, and then they'll actually find me waking up inside the coffin.
I just, and
he
I
forgot to get the death certificate.
I've gotten to know a good amount of your friends. I mean, I love Chris and John Love and all of them, but Byron is my favorite. I'm sorry. He's my favorite person that's in your life. That's in your orbit, the Jay Query orbit, and there are a lot of people that are in there that are great people.
Okay.
He's just a dude. He's just a guy trying to be a dude. That's all.
I got news for you. In my orbit, you're Pluto.
So I'm one of the top 8 or top 9, right?
It's not even a planet anymore. It's just this
It
little
still
floating
counts.
piece that's out there.
Okay, do you have
It's
the
like
last
this
Spider Bowl bleep?
little article of dust out
Spider
there
Bowl
that's
bleep.
floating around.
Lederhosen is comfortable.
Spider Bowl bleep, like the Colts have just accomplished, Indiana is on the cusp now of dropping 2 of their next 3 games.
No. I don't think Indiana's going to lose the Big Ten championship and then be one and done.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay,
Bull
that's fair.
bleep. I think Ohio State's going to beat them. I do think that Indiana's going to win a playoff game, at least one.
Okay.
I think Indiana might be in the national championship. I mean, Indiana might win the whole thing. I am not shut off to that idea whatsoever. I know other people are because of their history, but no. What
Fair
about
enough.
you? I mean, I already know how you feel.
No,
about it.
I
Yeah,
think
I already know how you feel.
I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
They're going to lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten title game,
But
and
then
come
make
back
a
and
run.
beat them in the national
Then make a
title
run.
game.
Yeah. Thanks to our tremendous sponsors, Bailey & Wood Financial Group, our friends at IU Indy,
Oh, I forgot the Jack.
Chateau Kitchens as well, Chili Water Tap Room, Hoagies and Hops, and to our tremendous ISC crew. Vince has been setting up this show in the rain. It's been rainy like every single Tuesday, and Vince still comes in on here. He never complains, at least not publicly. And Brant and Charlie and everybody else on the Rake, everybody else on the ISC crew, and Christina and her entire crew here at Hoagies and Hops and Chili Water Brewing. For Jake, I'm Derek. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you next time right here on Query and Schultz.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned, and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.